Alright, shalom, shalom. Hold on. Shalom, shalom. I want to give all praise to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to the Akim out there spreading this truth like wildfire. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners who look like the other nations. But the Spirit bears witness that they're the children of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. And shalom to the real sisters out there. Alright, today, this is part 2 of part 1 of that video I did on so-called Bishop Nate Satan of the IUIC, throwing up that mano cornuto, and these race wars and civil wars popping off. Let me bringing out scriptures on that. But let me this is part 2 because I didn't have enough video space to record all of it. So part 2, here we go. All right, so I'm gonna bring out this precept that having Obadiah. This is one of the judgments that is going to happen to Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed so-called white man. Obadiah 1 verse 7, all the men of thy confederacy, and it links up with what I was bringing out. But all the men, about kingdom versus kingdom, right? All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. Even that race, that civil war, goes into that as well. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee, and there is none understanding in him. Because how it goes into World War III is, not only Russia, but yet EU nations. Really all these other heathen nations as well, man. Because America, because a lot of the food products, like the bread and shit. The bread and shit, a lot of it, is going here and shit. Now they've been making like big bank off of America. Babylon the Great, that's that nation that everybody come here to do business with and shit. Everybody come here to sell their shit. Dealing with all, it's a whole, man. It sells itself to these other nations. That's why it's known as the Great Whore, not just a regular whore, the Great Whore. The Bible also calls it the mistress of witchcraft. What's a mistress, what's a madam? It's a great whore. But so all these nations, these other nations, as well as these other kingdoms of the Edomites, the 10 horns, they've been eating the bread. They've been making money. Hey, what's another word that our people use for bread? People use for money? Bread, right? Dough, right? They that eat that bread have laid a wound under thee. And also goes into, these other states, right? Goes into these other states too, because they've been, if you look at it, they've also been they've been eating this, they've been benefiting off this system as well, run of course out of Babylon, America. And they're a part of this man's confederacy. There's no coincidence that the first civil war during the first civil war you had the Union versus the Confederacy. And it's basically like the same two sides. but modified a little more, coming against each other. But basically, like an upgraded version of it, the U.S. Civil War 2.0, the sequel, you get what I'm saying? Egyptian versus Egyptian, the sequel, I'm gonna bring it out. The man of thy confederacy, the man of this devil's confederacy, gonna turn on them again. Both when it comes to these states versus each other versus the federal government, and when it comes to because one side will be like backed up by the federal government and shit too. So you have that, and also on the international stage, you have these other Edomite nations. These other Edomite countries, because Esau is a nation. These are countries, these are kingdoms. It's different. They're gonna turn on this place. Along with even the heathens, they've been a part of Esau's confederacy. Psalm 83 tell you that. They're gonna turn on this place. Because the whole world is sick of this place. The whole world. They've been sick of it, but it's worse now. And now that this place is falling, these other nations, man, these other nations and these other kingdoms, they're looking, they're salivating at it, man. They want to be the on the top, man. They want to have that position that this place has been having. But let me get especially Moab, which is the so-called Chinese. They think they're gonna get it too, but ain't no one else got next, man. Esau don't got next, of course. He's the end of the world, and none of these other heathen nations got next. Esau's the end of the world, and Jacob's the beginning of it that come after. It tells you. But yeah, Isaiah 19. Verse 2, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And that's what you see taking shape, You've already seen glimpses of that. With the BLM protests, which is, of course, it was instigated by these elites, but still, that energy is there. Them tensions are there. They are playing on something, even if they did help to create it, it doesn't say how this prophecy would like come to pass, like how would it be caused to come to pass. It just says it, but it's gonna come to pass. There's gonna be the Most High Yahweh is gonna set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. And you can see it. They shall fight everyone against his brother. Everyone against his neighbor, city against city, kingdom against kingdom. City against city, these different cities, they're gonna, even within these states, you're gonna have cities that ain't with what the rest of the state wants. Like Texas, real red state. They're gonna be, they're gonna be on they're gonna be on the other side in that civil war. They're gonna be on the Republican side. The same, they're gonna be on the same side, with the same states that they was with during the first Civil War. But in Texas, you have cities, say San Antonio, one of them. You have cities that are not gonna be down with that shit. You have cities, these individual cities, they're with the, they'd be on the other side, which is now the Democratic side. So even within these states, you're gonna have that, and you're gonna have areas that are in blue states, areas that are not with what the blue state wants. So even these states, they're gonna be divided. And yeah, everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom, because they're gonna be like separate kingdoms. And these states, they're supposed to be, sovereign and shit, like kind of like separate kingdoms and shit. But yeah, it's gonna be like that. It's gonna be like that. And this is gonna lead. This is gonna lead to what? This is gonna lead to what? Them cracking down. This civil war, this race war, because also plays into that, because 2/3 of the Israelites, so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, as well as the Israelite foreigners that be like under the speckled bird, looking like the other nations. 2/3 of y'all, 2/3 of y'all, y'all like unto your father the devil, Esau, Edom. So, which is also known as they're spiritually the Egyptians as well. So in a way, it ties in with that as well. But what's gonna come out of all this? What's gonna come out of all this? Reading on down, verse 3: And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols, and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. Yep, you already see that happening. This so-called Christianity, this so-called church, because it ain't the real one. The church is a word there for church is ecclesia, meaning gathering. It ain't had nothing to do with the building. They're leaving that. They're leaving that, which that was used to deceive our people. That was used to deceive a lot of people around the world, man. Deceive the nations, right? That's what this devil did. Putting up that false image of the Most High, whose real name is Yahweh, and the Son, whose name is Yahweh Shai, putting up that false image, that so-called right image of both of them. An example of that, saying that the real Jews, that pale skin, saying that they're those people in the land. Deception, saying there's a pre-tribulation rapture. Deception, more example of that. Saying you could eat whatever, you could break the law, statutes, and commandments. The Most High, Yahweh and the Son Yahweh Shai. Oh, teaching you that the Most High's name is God, and that His Son's name, is JC. When, that name that they push out, that they tell you, it has nothing to do with his original name. All this, he's pushed all this out, deceiving nations. And really, it's targeted at our people that are not only here in Babylon the Great, not only here in the States, but around the world, because we have been scattered to the four corners of the earth. Alright, so that as well, it's dying out, as well as the spirit of Egypt. Look, spirit of American patriotism, right? That's dying out. That's dying out clearly. That's dying out. As you saw with the flag, the whole ordeal with the flag and shit. As you saw with that. And you saw what you seen even people join the military. They join it for benefits mainly. They ain't joining because they believe in these wars. They believe in this government. They joining, or they believe that's fighting for freedoms or whatever, so-called, right? They're joining because of benefits. A lot of our people be joining. Get out the hood, get out the ghettos, barrios. Get out the gutter, basically. Get out of that. Basically, escape the curses of Deuteronomy 28. A lot of them do that for that reason. But that's wearing out. All that's wearing out, and that's tied into so-called Christianity. All that is, it's true. It's true. Verse 4. And the Egyptians will I give over into a hand of a cruel lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts. And today, that fulfillment of that prophecy would be, that martial law. That martial law, them that New World Order, the parts that they will be able to fulfill, that mark of the beast, that RFID chip being forced on our people, as well as on their own. It forced on everybody, forced on the whole world, really. That fierce king, which ultimately is those elites, but they have their figureheads. They have one of them be that fierce king. Could be that devil that's in office right now. Hey, Joe Blow, man, he's pushing out executive orders, executive decree, one unrighteous decree after another. Rapid fire style. So could be him. Hey, could be the VP. Could be Kamala. Would be fitting that, the last president, so the last ruler of this place, right? So-called ruler of this place, it is a whore, man. Look into it. Basically, what she did to get to that position would make sense. Yeah. So that's that. That fierce king enforcing those unrighteous decrees that have been issued. Not just by this devil, but by the one before, but by that Obama before him. Before him, all these presidents, man, these puppets of these elites. Yeah, that's gonna go into that. It's gonna go into that. But even that World War III, because since the Edomites, since they're like the modern day Egyptians, and you have that's also that there as well. And that fierce king in that case would be Yahushai, come back. Because we gonna put Yahushai, and his men, they gonna, he come back, he gonna put these devils and these heathens back in their place where they belong. Not ruling over us and oppressing us. He's gonna take 1,000 years of slavery for that. We ain't gonna have these wicked around no more. These devils, we ain't gonna have them around no more. Cause in a perfect kingdom of righteousness, where our people ain't gonna go off no more, there ain't gonna be no need for the wicked. Cause the wicked, that's the sword of the Most High Yahweh. Basically, he was created to punish our people for going off. Psalm 17 and 13 tells you that. Psalm 17:13, arise, O Yahweh, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, who is that sword, which is that sword. Verse 14, from men which are thy hand, O Yahweh, from men of the world, which have their portion in this life, and whose belly thou fillest with thy hid treasure. They're full of, basically going into how the wicked is privileged. Basically, showing you that it's Esau too, because who has the blessing of the sword in it? It's Esau Edom. Alright, so moving on now. Okay, let me just grab this precept right here. Revelation, where it talks about Sodom and Egypt. Revelation chapter 11. Revelation chapter 11 verse 8, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom, in Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. Because that goes into them crucifying his image in this place, pushing that false image of him, and these ideals that are really their ideals, that like you can break the law, statutes, and commandments. And also, well, not just that, also, hey, this word, it is demonized in this place. It's all right to speak against the Bible. It's all right to do that here, but it's not all right if you speak out against, and you talk trash about another book, another so-called holy book, No, then that's wrong. Then you're being a bigot. But the minute you speak against the Bible, it's all right. They let that slide. Showing you. When you speak against the Lord, you speak against Him, they let that slide here. It's all good. It's all good according to these devils. Yeah, so he is his image. What he is really about is crucified here. There's a saying, they crucified him on the media. They didn't literally put him on a cross. It's symbolic. It's an analogy. When the dead bodies is going into our people, which have been spiritually dead. The valley of dry bones in Ezekiel. That's been our people. And hey, the two-thirds, they remain in the congregation of the dead. And especially those that wander out of the way of understanding, wander out of the truth, they fall out. They wander out of that way, they shall remain in the congregation of the dead. It's the two-thirds. Yeah. And also, you look at this place, and it is really like a huge city. Alright, so what else? So when the Bible speak of Egypt, like in Isaiah 19, the Bible speak of Egypt, it's talking about this place also. They especially should be able to tell in second Ezra chapter 15, verse 11. I believe it's verse 11, where it says where Most High Yahweh is telling us that He's gonna plague Egypt again, as before. How did He hit, what was those plagues that He hit Egypt with before? 10 plagues, right? Well, hey, this is spiritually Sodom and Egypt, so applies here. But yeah, this is prophecy update, and also, I had to touch on that subject of Nate throwing up the mano cornuto. I hope this live was edifying. I want to give all praise to Yahweh Shem Yahushai, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to the Akim out there spreading this truth like wildfire. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners who look like the other nations, but the Spirit bears witness that they're the children of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And shalom to the real sisters out there, And I'm going to try to maybe go camp later on. Cause it's been a while. It's been a while. But yeah, those times, these prophecies, they're flying off the book, man. They ain't tearing for nobody. And if you're not watching for them, man, you gonna be caught off guard. Yeah. Yeah, hey, before I got back on here, there was actually, a shooting, in Paris and shit. So like, Esau, what he do, pushing out these false flags. So we gotta we're gonna see what happened from that, Hey, these prophecies are coming to pass, rapid fire style, like I said. So yeah, yeah, that's another sign that our deliverance is coming soon. Yeah, so Shalom, look up, for redemption is nigh. Stay strong. He is. You stay strong. You endure unto the end. You endure unto the end. The same shall be saved. Matthew 24. Well, yeah, Matthew 24:13. All right. But with that, until next time, Shalom. Shalom and Yashra forever.